Welcome to the Irish Pagan School podcast. Your hosts are authors and co-founders of the Irish Pagan School here in County Waterford, Ireland, Laura O'Brien and Jon O'Sullivan. Fáilte.
When is Imbolc? Well, Dagdi Vogus Fáilte. Hi, hello, and welcome. Jon O'Sullivan from the Irish Pagan School. And that is a question that a lot of people debate over and go back and forward on. And I'll do my best to answer it, but stick around because maybe it's less about when it is and more about what it is. So, for those who may not know, Imbolc is one of the Ireland's pagan fire festivals. It is said to be the one that comes at the start of spring and the shift from wintertime into springtime. The four fire festivals being, of course, Imbolc, Bealtaine, Lunasa, and Samhain. Now, the most Irish pagans honor Samhain as the end of their year, which means that Imbolc becomes this new stage of growth really after the winter times or after the dark. Now, the when it is often very confused. A lot of people believe that it sits very firmly between the midpoint of the winter solstice and the spring equinox. And so you have to specifically go between those two astrological points to get exactly when to celebrate Imbolc. The problem with that is that changes every year because of our spinning globe on our orbital alignment and everything else. Others kind of go by the cultural or environmental changes that they would see around that time of year with the arrival of spring and the shift in growing things. The renewal of new life, buds on the trees, the first kind of daffodils, tulips, bulbs coming up, or in fact, the first lambs that are being born of that season. So this one tends to lean much more towards the culture, the kind of agricultural elements of Ireland culture around the seasonal shifts and what you will see within the landscape itself. For many, though, they associate Imbolc with the celebration of Saint Brigid's Day on the 1st of February. So whether you believe it's specifically a midpoint between astrological shifts, whether it's about the environmental time frames and what you would see of the flora and fauna of the world, or whether it's specifically associated with the goddess Brigid, you're all right and you're all able to do it your own way. Because that's really the answer to the question. It's not about exactly when it is, it's more about what we do and what we honor at that time and that shift of the season. So to understand what Imbolc is, we need to do look at where it comes from etymologically. So the word itself, it's spelled Imbolc or Imbolg. Now, the one that my partner Laura leans on most for the explanation is the latter, Imbolg, which is imbolg, as in the belly. And that refers to pregnancy. It refers to the arrival of new life, be it with people or with animals, that comes around that time of years. Especially if we look at the other celebrations throughout the year. If a person is engaging in celebrations at Bealtaine, for example, or engaging in new relationships at Bealtaine, conceiving at Bealtaine, then it's entirely possible that they will be delivering children once we get around to Imbolc and this new resurgence of life. Now, in the environmental world, it is about looking at the bulbs coming up, life returning to the trees, greenery returning, and all of the elements of that shift and flow of energy. This resurgence of new life is a lot of what people focus on when they talk about Imbolc. And oh, sorry, the other kind of spelling, Imbolc, could be a reference to the word folc, Folc, which is an Irish word for cleaning or to washing or bathing. And that's where we get the seasonal behavior of spring cleaning, as in once we have gone through our dark winter times, once it is around to warmer, brighter days, it's time to clean out all of the stuff you couldn't do throughout the dark, cold winter periods and set your house to right for the new, very busy forthcoming months and seasons of warmth and growth and harvest, etc. So the what really is that focus when it comes down to a person looking to believe or to practice paganism practice Imbolc as part of their Irish paganism. Um, the energy of new life, of resurgence, of you know, manifesting or delivering on like the efforts put in at Samhain, going through the dark times, going inside to do the deeper work on shadow, on self, and then beginning to grow from that buried sense into new life and into the expression of self that comes with the new year is a lot of what a person should focus on when they're coming around to their practices at Imbolc. Um, the other thing really not to be ignored is if you are someone who associates Imbolc with the 1st of February as in Saint Brigid's Day, there could be a connection or reference to Brigid as part of your focus and part of your spirituality at this time when it comes to Imbolc. Is Imbolc about Brigid? Can't say for sure. Like, is it 100% absolutely Goddess Brigid's? Can't say for sure. A lot of the narratives and stories we have around Brigid associated with this season are actually less Goddess Brigid and more Saint Brigid. And we have the stories of Saint Brigid, who could be a latter manifestation of the goddess Brigid, or the pagan goddess Brigid, or a different Brigid down through time. We have classes on Brigid at the Irish Pagan School. I would recommend for deeper insight on herself, maybe going there to have a look. But if you do associate Brigid with it, then it is looking at Saint Brigid and being aware of those subtle blurring of classifications around the narratives and the stories. One thing that is done very prominently culturally in Ireland around Saint Brigid's Day is, of course, the weaving of a Brigid's cross, which is a very specific traditional form of cross made from straw or from rush that are folded around a square and then tied at 4 radial arms or radial points. There's a uniqueness to the weaving of this cross. There are other structures of woven crosses, but that one is the most common, and it is associated with protecting your home, protecting your hearth, and looking after safety and security for the coming year. A lot of houses would make the Brigid's Cross at Imbolc, hang it up for the year, and then when it comes around to now the return of Imbolc, they would make a fresh cross, take the old one down, and put a new one up. So by cross, it's not a crucifix in that way, but it is a very interesting and unique expression. There are tri-arms. Not all Brigid's crosses are 4-armed, but it is those radial points. There's a lot on Brigid's crosses. I think I have some resources. I'll probably link those as well for you. But really what it comes down to loop it back into when is Imbolc, really it should be less about when and more about what you're doing at that time of year, at this time when we move from the darker period of the year where the focus tends to be or should be on internal practices and work. We need to move with the seasons, move with the energies and flow. And yeah, there is a time when internal work has to be prioritized, but then there's also a time where the budding growth of that effort we have put in has to be acknowledged and needs to be worked on as well. And so that is some of what we suggest people consider when it comes to Imbolc and this shifting of the pagan year. If you would like to know more, of course, I will put some resources in the links. We have irishpagan.school. If you search in there for Imbolc, you will find a lot of resources, including how to make Brigid's crosses. I believe we have a cheat sheet as well for how to practice or what someone should consider as their practices for Imbolc for this time of year if they are following an Irish pagan path. So I will include those resources as well. And as ever, look after yourself. Take care. Agus Slán. Goodbye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a positive review in your podcast listener. Then head over to irishpaganschool.com and enroll in one of our free or paid courses. Slán go fóill, and we will see you next time.